So we're running a minute or so late. Really glad to have you along. For those of you that are joining us for the first time, my name's Joe. This is Tam, and we're going to take you through a bit of stuff today on building your exit strategy and why now is the right time to start. All right, we always go through this slide. It's just a bit about, I suppose, the steps of working through and the steps we go through in our advisory process. And they're all around starting with that financial knowledge and awareness, which is our Profits Plus program, understanding your strategy and your business. And then once you get to that stage, overcoming the fears and limiting beliefs that you've got in running your business and the way you do that. I suppose unlocking as much of your potential as we possibly can. And this is really all about today, and any of the stuff we do is remaining open to new knowledge and possibilities. We're going to cover some things today that you may have heard or seen before, but maybe they'll hit a different way today. So just remain open to that if you can. All right, we've got the four arms in the business. We've got bookmates, P2P tax, obviously, and wealth. Where we are today is talking about stuff in the advisory space. So we're all about increasing profit and choice and flexibility in your running your business. How to make the most of it, as I said before, be open as much as possible to new knowledge. Listen to and note your thoughts and reactions to things. So identify maybe your blind spots or some self-limiting beliefs in there. If we say some things that might push a button or that you sort of think maybe that's not applicable to me, a lot of this stuff is applicable to all of us. So give that a try. Commit to trying out at least one concept or action. We're going to run through and we're going to give you 4 or 5 really actionable things today. And at the end of it, we're going to ask you to action one and pick one, because picking one and doing one outside of what you do every day is hard enough. So we don't need to be trying to commit to doing all of them. Let's just pick one. Ask your questions. You've got us here for half an hour. We will take some questions at the end. But if you want to ask them during the session, please feel free to just open the chat box on the right-hand side and enter your questions in there. And we will answer them if we can, if they fit in on the way through. And if not, we'll answer them at the end. And set yourself an accountability action. So we call it the magic step. So it's all about making sure that you're following through on what you say you're going to do. And quite often that involves obviously having an accountability partner in that. And we'll talk about how you can book in with us if you need help. Amy is actually just going to put a link now in the chat section. We'll come back to that a bit later on. But there is a link there that if you want to book some time in to have a chat about any of the things we're going to talk about today, please feel free to click on that and we'll find a little slot to have a discussion and then go a bit further about how it applies to you personally.
So the best time to start building your exit strategy is right now. We see people leave millions of dollars on the table and go through huge amounts of unnecessary stress and worry as they kind of come to the end of their business. So don't make the mistake of leaving it too late.
I think that sums it all up in one slide, doesn't it? There's no time like the present.
No time like the present. So Joe and I have put this presentation today. We've built this webinar around some of the key principles in the book Built to Sell by John Warrillow, as well as our own experiences dealing with our advisory clients on a day-to-day basis. So the best businesses are sellable, and smart business people believe that you should build a company to be sold, even if you have no intention of cashing out or stepping back anytime soon. This can actually take years to achieve, which is why we say that there is no time better than now.
I think that's that key bit that we've bolded and underlined there is the key part to that quote is, you know, regardless of when or how you're going to step out, or if you're going to step out at all, all this stuff is applicable. So to any business at all, whether you start, that's why we say any time's the right time. Doesn't matter if you started yesterday or you've been doing it for 30 years. Absolutely.
So what do we mean by having a business that is ready to sell? So creating a business that can generate more profit because you're aware of who your ideal customer is and the services that you want to offer. And you have good internal systems and processes to run that as smooth and as profitable as possible. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, Joe. Getting your team to know their roles and step up so that your business isn't reliant on you will free up your time and give you more space and energy so that you can step back from the day-to-day and focus where you need to focus, whether that's on the business, whether it's having a better work-life balance, or whether it is putting time and energy into the next step for you. but people overlook how important that part is when they go to sell a business. And providing a greater level of enjoyment, because you are then in a role that you want to be doing. You have the time that you want to dedicate to it, and then you're utilizing your skill set to the best of your ability, which then ultimately leads to more satisfaction and less stress. So the reason why we say to do this now and not when you're wanting to retire or sell your business is that who wouldn't want a business that runs like this? Run smoother, more profitable, and you love doing what you do on a day-to-day business. I know that I would.
And the analogy we use here, of course, is is your house, right? So you think about a lot of people when they go to sell their house will either do some minor touching up or maybe a major renovation, anywhere in between. But quite often you hear people say when they go to move out and sell their place, "Oh, geez, it feels like we don't get to enjoy this now," and that's because obviously they've put up with it and they've lived in a space, quite comfortably probably for a little while, but they don't realise what they're missing out on necessarily until they actually go and do those things and they improve the place or improve their lifestyle, and then they sort of realise, oh, wait a minute, I've been missing out on some stuff here that I probably could have had on the way through. So don't do the same thing. I suppose do that with your house as well. Like make the most of that, but also with your business as well. There's plenty of things that it might feel okay now, might feel 70, 60, 70, 80%. But what if we could get it to 90, 95%? That's a question we need to ask ourselves.
Absolutely.
So where do we fit into? And we covered this in our last webinar. This is from the book Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, and it's a concept of the cash flow quadrants and the non-passive or I suppose labor-orientated stuff on the left-hand side versus the passive stuff on the right-hand side. And the way it works is it goes from the top left to the bottom left, up to the top right, down to the bottom right. They're the quadrant orders. So we've got number one starting as an employee. So you have a job at that stage. And we've got I suppose an arrangement where you're told what to do most of the time. You're paid a set amount for doing that work. We move to self-employed. So we decide we don't want to be employed anymore. We want to make the decisions ourselves. Now, you get a little bit more flexibility there, but you're still selling your time and expertise for money at that stage. So it's very difficult to scale because really you're limited to how much time and value you yourself can provide to whoever you're working with. Then we move to, and this is a massive step quite often, to the business owner level. And what that looks like is we bring a team involved, whether that be a couple of people or 20 or 30 people, whatever it looks like. But at that point, we own a system that works for us. So we don't necessarily need to be there all the time. We've got a group of people that can help us do what we need to do, and we can scale and grow our business from there. We're going to cover off in a minute what can happen there. But then our next point is to the investor stage. So at this stage, our money is working for us. So thinking about investing in a publicly listed company like a BHP or a bank or something like that, a NAB or an ANZ, you give them some money, they give you some shares, and you get dividends from that. Now, you're not involved in working in those things most of the time necessarily, but you're getting a return from that. It's a little bit different in your own business because you can get that return, but quite often you're working in there as well. The investor level just allows you to decide how much time you want to spend in that space. So they're I suppose, the different sections of a little bit more characteristics of those things. We're just going to hone in on the investor one because that's where we want to focus today. Is that it looks like 10% working in the business. These are just broad numbers that might look different for different people, but 10% working in the business, 90% working on the business. High profit, more time to spend how you would like to spend your time. So if that's in the business, great. If it's not, that's great as well. Independent team, so they don't need you to be doing what they're doing. They can run that themselves, and you've got unlimited flexibility. So you choose what you want to do when you want to do it. To me, that sounds pretty good.
Business life cycle. So we like to kind of explain it like this. So your business starts, you've got one person or, it's just you, or you've got your minimal team members. You're taking on all clients so that you can grow as quickly as possible. You do all of the things for anyone that asks of you. You're building the systems and procedures of your business on the fly, if at all. Then you go, as your business grows, thanks, Joe. Your team grows. your reputation and your workload grows as well. And you just get so busy focusing on getting the work done and less on the efficiency of the business because the wheels just need to keep on turning. But
we should say here too, Tam, like this is it's obviously, for simplicity, the picture is pretty, it's just a linear line straight up. But in reality, what happens is it's more exponential, isn't it? Like people just, start quite small, but it grows very, very quickly. And it can be quite steep.
Absolutely. But you get to this business owner ceiling. And what that kind of means is that it becomes a point in time where your business cannot grow any further because it's solely reliant on you. This is where you're limiting your business, your profits, your team, and any potential exit strategy to sell or have people step up so that you can focus on other things. What does this look like? So you are the center of the universe for everything in your business. The team can't see a future for themselves. Systems and processes are all stored in your head or revolve around you to a degree, or there are none. And you're still doing bespoke work at non-bespoke prices. So I think that will resonate for quite a few businesses. We want to do a poll now of how many of those do you see for yourself? Do you find that, so if you just choose one, is it none, is it 1, 2, 3, or 4? So that should pop up on your screen. If you could select the appropriate answer, that would be great. But, do you see that you're the center of attention in your business? Does everyone come to you all the time? Do you have to make the decisions? Are your team independent? Do your team know what their role is within the business, and do they see a future? Or do you have a high staff turnover? Do you have documented systems and processes, or are they all in your head? Do they all rely on you? Are you micromanaging in that aspect of your business? And are you doing a lot of bespoke work? So, are you regenerating the wheel all the time, but not necessarily charging accordingly? So we're getting quite a few answers come through now. Most are saying at least 2 or 3 or more in their businesses. So probably about 65% are saying that they've got, more than 2 of these in their business, which we see all the time. So that's really normal.
Keep going, guys. We've got 50%. 50% of people haven't clicked the button. Just click the button. No one can see your answer. That's right. It's really common, and this is exactly what we're talking about. So thank you for your answers. There we go. We're getting closer there now. We got up to 70 odd percent. A couple more. We'll give you 10 more seconds. Really good. Awesome. And as Tam said, that's exactly where we'd expect it to see. Most people having certainly at least one of those, and for the most part 2 or more. It's just a really common scenario in a small business. Thanks, everyone. That's really good. Okay, so we've got a bit of a case study here, and this is a real example that we've done some work on in the last few years, Tam particularly, and it's a very clear message as to exactly what we're trying to get across here with some very clear numbers. So this particular business has been running for 30 years, and husband and wife team with 18 support staff. So it's a reasonable size business, and 80% of their business is manufacturing a very specialized product for customers, and it's different for every customer. So it's bespoke for the job that they're doing. And all the customers in that business, of all the customers, 80% deal directly with the husband and no other staff. So just one person as the center of the universe there. And when they tried to sell, a potential buyer was only willing to pay 1.75 times EBITDA, which is a fancy word for fancy shortening of adjusted profit. This is basically what they're making every year. And a comparable business in the same industry that had better structures in place got 5 times EBITDA. So as we can see here, those few things we went through before around people being the center of the universe, having a really good size team of support staff, but a lot of them are really just supporting one person, and all the stuff goes through one person. We've got a very bespoke product as well. So all the things that will grow a business and make it very successful are also potential challenges. So let's just take a look at these real dollars and what it actually means here. This is purely in business valuation. So I've got 1.75 times the EBITDA. That was the sale price of $1.2 million for this business. Now, the equivalent of what it would have been if it was 5 times EBITDA, which is what that very similar business also achieved that had just done a bit more work on this stuff, was near enough to $3.5 million, which gives us a difference of $2.2 million potentially left on the table, which is a big number. So when we're talking about what Tam said before about millions of dollars, it's not hyperbole. That's the sort of stuff we see talking about here. Now, it's not the same for, it's not always that much money, but it is always a large multiple of whatever that business is making that is the difference. So there can be millions, it can be even if it's hundreds of thousands. To be honest, I wouldn't leave $100,000 lying on the curb. I don't know about you, Tam, but I wouldn't leave $100,000 sitting on the curb if I walked past it.
Not if you can avoid it.
So it might help you buy a year's worth of groceries at the moment. But that's the sort of stuff that we see. So it's huge amounts of money. There's a money side, as we said, but there's also, as you can imagine, in that other business. Can you imagine the stress that was on that one person that's in the middle of all that? Now, it's oftentimes something they enjoy, but it's also equal times something that can be very stressful, not only for them, but also for the team and for their family and for everyone else around that. So what can you do differently to achieve that $3.5 million sale price as opposed to the $1.2 million or whatever the equivalent is for your business? And the first thing we do is we make ourselves redundant as business owners. And what does that look like? It basically means that the business should be able to run largely without your influence or without you being there. And obviously, if we go back to those quadrants, as a self-employed person, that's impossible because you are the business, that's you. But if you're a business owner and you have a team of people, setting your business up and creating the structures to allow you to step out and for it to continue to operate. Ensure you've got your skilled staff around you that know their role. So Tam touched on before about the flexibility and the ability of the owner to step out. That's a key part of it. And we're going to cover that in a lot more detail in our next webinar. Pay yourself market wages and dividends. So generate a return from the business that makes it a viable thing that people will want to buy. If BHP shares all of a sudden started paying a cent dividend, they're not going to be anywhere near as attractive as what they are now. The value of the business drops. Delegation of responsibility to the staff for the day-to-day running, so it's not up to you. So that's a big part of it. Quite often we've got very capable staff. We just don't use the capability. And that's horrible in two ways. One, you lose very capable people because they actually want to help you. And secondly, you don't get the freedom and flexibility that you need that you could actually access. So a lot of it's, when we talk about self-limiting beliefs, that's what we're talking about. So one practical thing that you can do immediately here. This is our first tip. So note this down if you think it's applicable to you. Keep a center of the universe list. Now, this can be however you like. Be on a bit of paper, can be Excel, Word document, whatever you want. Doesn't matter. It's really just a list of, for a week or two, keeping a record of all the things that people are coming to you for. Now, that could be anything at all that people are having to get you, where you're having to make a decision for something to move forward. Now, you'll notice some things on there about things coming to you 20 times for the same thing. It'll give you a really good insight into where you can start to build systems, processes, operations manuals, or indications, framework to actually start to free yourself up. And it's the old 80-20 rule. If you can get rid of those things that are taking up 80% of your time or 80% of the time people come to you, it gets rid of most, it obviously gets rid of most of it. 20% will get rid of 80% of the queries. So start with the big stuff and then build up from there.
Beautiful. So design clear and attractive pathways for your team. If they feel rewarded and part of your business, they're going to feel a sense of purpose and connection, and therefore they're going to perform a lot better and actually step up more and accept more responsibility as a result. This is one of the biggest things in business is that the business owners say to us is, we can't get our staff to make a decision on things and we can't get them to step up. They don't treat it like it's their own. This is the type of stuff that we're talking about. So having things like a management team to help you run the day-to-day, again, so you can step back. Rewarding people for their loyalty and their performance, and having incentive plans and good commercial wages in place are really going to help with that. Having the team members know their role within the business and how they can be part of it is a massive game changer. So one practical tip that we suggest that you do immediately is start one-on-ones with your team. A lot of people don't actually communicate with their team, except for maybe annual staff salary reviews. Even that sometimes doesn't even happen, to be honest. So I think, the biggest thing is just keep opening up those lines of communication. It gives you a forum to discuss positive and negative feedback, as well as focusing on growing them as a team member. Just asking them little simple questions like, what are you seeing on the ground? How can I help you? What could we be doing better? Will just open up the communication so that they can talk to you, you can talk to them. You can be giving feedback and just working on things better. I think one thing that we always forget to ask them is how they think we can be doing things better, because quite often they're the ones on the ground and have some really good ideas. So that's, one practical tip we suggest doing in this circumstance.
Yeah. And people often overthink that too. So just on that, just do it. Just start doing it. Just start having the conversation. You're all people. Everyone can talk to each other. Just get it started. It'll work itself out. Develop bulletproof systems and processes. That is the third thing. So again, use that 80-20 rule and focus on the things that, the 20% of things that give you 80% of the results. Keep it as simple as possible. We don't want big, long, complicated systems and processes. No one refers to them. They're too hard to use. So keep it as simple as possible. Keep them easy to find and to use. So there's no use having a really good process if no one knows where it is. No one knows where to go to use it. And review them regularly. So, as Tam said before, your employees and the people and all your team will have plenty of ideas about how things could work or work more practically or do better. Just review them and change them. Don't be too proud to change the things. Don't change them willy-nilly. But if you think there's a benefit in changing them and improving them, then continually, have a look at that and be open to that. So one practical thing that we can do immediately, we do this with all our advisory clients. We're going to show you a very messy example in a minute of it, but is review your current, sorry, Tam, this is one of yours. Mine look worse than yours, so don't take that as offensive. Review your current workflow process. This is something we do with as I said, all of our advisory clients. This is the really neat, simple example, but we pick 8 to 10 steps in our workflow going from start to finish. So the key procedure that you do in your business, 8 to 10 steps, write down one sentence that describes what that step is, discuss a few things that work well and that don't work well for each step, and then rank it from 1 to 10. No using 7. 7 is a fence sitter. If you go from 8 to 10, generally you're obviously thinking it's pretty good. And if you go from 6 down, well, you're generally feeling probably like it could do with some improvement. So just don't use 7. Pro tip, complete that exercise with different team members from different areas. If you've got different functional areas like an admin team or an accounts team and an operations team, sales, whatever, do them with each of them, because they'll each be involved in different ways at different steps of this, and they'll have their different views on what's working well and what's not, and that'll give you an idea of where you should start to focus. This is what it looks like.
Yeah, it's a very powerful tool, isn't it, Joe? Like,
it is, absolutely.
The staff members actually love getting involved when we do this with clients. And even if you do it yourself in your business, they get to feel like they can contribute to things that could that could be implemented to improve. And if you let them go and do that, then they actually have ownership on improving that system and process. And again, you start to just delegate that responsibility to them. So it's such a powerful tool if you're experiencing this.
So if you want to see Tam or myself or Jeff or someone create the bit of art that's on the page now, please don't hesitate. Happy to do that. As I said, mine, Tam, yours is a very neat compared to mine. So well done.
So knowing your ideal client and service. So being clear on who your ideal client is, so that you have repeatable business. So whatever you're doing should be teachable and repeatable. That's so you can gain efficiency and improve profitability. Be aware of your exposure to larger clients or industry types. So relying too heavily on one client is risky. The old too many eggs in one basket analogy. So It's actually a huge downfall when you go to sell your business if you have that, because it can devalue things very quickly if you don't have a number of clients. And don't be afraid to say no, especially to businesses that are outside, business that's outside your expertise, or clients who don't align with your values or what you're trying to achieve. Be very clear on your product offering. So don't generalize, specialize. If you focus on doing one thing well or a few things well and hire experts in that area, the quality of your work will improve and you will stand out from your competitors. Focus on doing well, on what you do well, and be confident there. So again, don't try and be everything to everyone. Again, don't be afraid to say no. Once you know what your services and your products should be, stay true to that and don't bend for people, coming in the door. So one practical thing that we think you should do is review and rank your client base and your product offering. So in terms of the client base, you want to look at things like the volume of sales for customers, the dollar value of those. Are they enjoyable to work for? Do they deal with other people other than yourself as a business owner? Are they happy to deal with team members? Do they refer other people in? Are they appreciative of your work? That type of stuff. It doesn't have to just be the tangible dollar side. With your product offering, go and have a look at the profit, the margin, and the percentage of overall turnover that product or service is offering your business. Knowing the direct costs and what the actual gross profit is key if you've got that data. Is it repeatable? Is it teachable? Can you put systems in process to be able, and processes in place to gain efficiency and make it run smoother?
Perfect. So we believe that all businesses should be aiming to get to the investor quadrant, regardless of whether you plan to sell 2, 5, 10 or 30 years from now. And I think it's pretty clear as to why. It'll generate, regardless of when you sell it or if you sell it, it's going to generate more profit, give you more time, space and energy, and provide greater enjoyment. And that's really what this is all about. That's why we're in business. So one last poll, if we can. It's a pretty quick and easy one. We've just gone through 4 key things you can action. I'm going to keep a center of the universe list. I'm going to start one-on-ones with my team. I'm going to review my workflow process. I'm going to review and rank my client base and product offering. We'd really love you to select one of those options. We said at the start, we want you to take one actionable thing away. Pick the one thing that you're going to focus on. You can come back to the other 4. You'll get a copy of this. So if you think that a couple might be applicable, pick the one thing, the one that will make the most difference to your business.
There's a lot to selecting the center of the universe list, which is a huge one for business owners that have everyone coming at them and they have to make all the decisions and help their team. And I think it's a really big, powerful list. And as Joe said before, you want to just focus on, when I do this, I write down every single time someone comes to me. So even if I'm doubling up over, the couple of days that I do this, it gives you that ability to be able to see how many times that one thing is coming at you so that you can then focus on that. Again, focus on the 80-20 rule here.
That's it. Okay, so we've got 8 people, more than half the people I will keep a center of the universe list. Great. Perfect. So complete the magic step. We're going to ask you to do that now. So pick your key action to complete. You've done that, hopefully. Most of the audience have done that, so thank you. Click on the Calendly link in the chat section and book a time to have a chat to us. We'll chat to you about what that looks like in your business. We'll help hold you accountable to doing that. We'll help you get started on it if you're not sure how to do that. More than happy to do that. So Tam and I can act as that person for you. We're offering that to you as a thanks for coming along today. So click that link and jump in. Alternatively, if you've got a business partner, husband, wife, whatever you like, just do it with someone. It's a senior person in your business, someone you can talk to and that's comfortable holding you accountable. Just go and do that. We've got to put these things in place to help us make change because it's very difficult to do that. All right, so a bit of a recap. We're running pretty well bang on time, so thank you for hanging around. This is going to take you a minimum of 2 years. It's probably more like 5 in real world. It talks about 2 in the book. Our experience is 5. So you need to prove that your business can maintain profits, run without you, have a proven income stream and margins, and that systems and processes can be effective. Be aware of being stuck at that business owner ceiling. Are you stuck there? And how do you get through that? More than happy to help with that. Getting to the investor quadrant isn't just for those who are selling or exiting. It's for everyone. And the best time to start is right now. So reach out for some help. Tam, do you want to run through these quickly?
Yep, absolutely. So these are the ways that we can help. So we can do strategy sessions, BizIQ, Profits Plus, coaching, or we can do a quick fire Zoom call using that link as well. But in terms of some things that will directly help with this type of thing is Profits Plus. So self-employed to business owner, it's the next easiest step. So getting that financial understanding and knowing your numbers and basics is what our Profits Plus program is.
And you can jump in that at any time?
Anytime. We run them every month. It's a 6-monthly kind of cycle, but you can jump in whenever you like. If you haven't been part of our BizIQ, we are running also one in November. Correct me on the date, Joe. Is it the
28th of November? There'll be something coming out about that.
That's right. So if you're interested in joining our BizIQ, which is quarterly group sessions, we have one down in Geelong and one in our Shepparton office. They are with like-minded business owners, and we go through some education and talking about the challenges in your business, and it's only quarterly, but the power of community is huge in those sessions. So if you haven't been along to one and you would like to, reach out, because we are doing a bit of a taster, as we said, on the 28th of November. It is purely an online one as the taster to kind of then go into the face-to-face groups next year.
And that's open to any client or anyone that's attended the webinar free of charge. So feel free to do that. We'll include a link when we send the follow-ups out of this as well, Amy. I'm sure we'll find a way to do that, or maybe stick it in the chat and do both. The last thing we want to cover off on before we finish up is our Next Gen program, which we are commencing next year. This will be our final group program. And it's really all about really honing in on that element of leaders and managers in your business that we spoke about today, and taking that to the next level, and growing our leadership program the leadership program is designed to grow your team, increase your profit, increase the enjoyment, time and flexibility, and create a valuable, saleable asset to either the person that's coming up through that or to someone else outside of that. So we're going to be talking more about that specifically in our next webinar. Jeff, one of our other business partners, who some of you will know, is joining us as well. So please feel free to come along. There'll be and keep an eye out for registrations for that. There will be an offer in there as well as far as joining that. So please feel free to come along. All right. Amy's just put the free BizIQ thing in the flyer in the chat thing. So if you want to download that in the handout section, that should have popped up. Please feel free to grab that and register as well. There's a couple of chats, and also there's some links in the chat box as well that she's put in for Profits Plus and BizIQ. Thanks, Amy. Hello, everyone that's waved. Sorry, I missed that before. There's Kevin. There's one comment here. I think you've put a comment in that says, we employ people who are subject to a fair work award. Our principals are very strict about enforcement of the award. There are clear definitions around duty, scope, and pay rates, which mean if we allow our staff to do more, we have to pay them more. Okay. Yeah, I understand what you're saying there, Kevin. And thank you for putting that out there. Absolutely. Probably not necessarily asking them to do more. It's probably just being very clear about what they're doing within their role, and helping them do that better. And if they want to develop and grow and take on more, great. As far as I'm concerned, I'm more than happy to pay our team more if they're taking on more responsibility and helping grow our business and grow our clients. That's win-win-win for everyone. So it's probably just more staying in touch with them as human beings, and just having a general discussion as to how they're going and their thoughts on how the business is operating as well. You know, we don't know it all, and we can't be expected to.
That's right.
Delta's
given one as well. So Delta, so in our experience, Joe, who are business owners selling their businesses to? So are they peers, family members, business brokers, accountants, advisors? I know for me, in the last couple of years, I've had businesses being, intergenerational, so going to other family members and succession planning type of thing, selling to big corporations, selling to just other businesses that are in the area that want to expand, or that type of thing. Some of them have been via business brokers, and some of them have just been other people, contacting them, knowing that they're wanting to retire or nearing retirement type of thing. So it's a bit of a mixed bag, to be honest, and it really depends on your business and where, how many competitors and things like that are in the area. So Delta, feel free to reach out if you've got any more questions around that.
Yeah, and I would agree. It really depends on the business, depends on the people in it. Obviously, if it's a family business, quite often that will move through generational stuff. Not always, but quite often that's the case. If they don't have, if the people selling the business don't have someone internally that's willing to buy it, whether that be a family member or a team member, then that's when they'll go external. And generally that's done through a broker, Delta. But thank you for your question. Really appreciate it. Okay, we've got another question here from Lucas. Thanks, Lucas. If I'm not currently working in the business now and have a GM and team running the business with good processes, how do we know what percentage number will be or be when selling? How do I find that out? Great question. Great question. Tam, have you got some thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I think firstly, that's amazing that you've got all of those things already in place, because that's part of the problem. Generally, when you go to sell, you don't have the GM in place, you're still in the business, systems and processes aren't good, that type of thing. So perfect, that's awesome. I think when it comes to that, business broker is going to be your first best bet, because they are going to know what comparable businesses in your industry, they have access to all that type of data. So I would be talking to someone like that. Now, Lucas, I think you might be in the GV. So John from Harcourt is who I've dealt with, and he's amazing in this area. So I would nearly be having a bit of a chat to him so that he can do that industry-based knowledge to kind of see where your business fits with others and what return on investment they might be getting when they go to sell, so that you know what that percentage of EBITDA would be for your particular business. There's always lots of, us as accountants can kind of give you an idea, but he's that expert in selling businesses that is going to give you the data. We would be giving you some ranges to kind of look with.
It's very available stuff. Absolutely. I would agree with Tam. Broker is the best spot for that. Some of it's readily available on the internet, but they'll quite happily have that discussion with you. One thing I would say, I was agree entirely with Tam, what she said about well done. What you have done, Lucas, is that the multiple that you would get is far greater than what it would have been with the work you've done. So that's awesome. That's guaranteed to be the case. It just depends on, a lot of this stuff depends on your industry and the size of the business as to what the multiple will be.
Beautiful. Is there no other questions? Not at this stage. Beautiful.
Well, thank you. We've gone a bit over, but obviously some of that was answering questions. So hopefully that was useful with what we discussed there. More than happy to take any other questions you've got. Just to get in touch with us either through email, through the website, through Amy at marketing at ptps.com.au. Happy to have a chat at any time. Thanks for joining us. We won't hold you on any longer. Please look out for the next webinar, which will be later in the year. And we'll go into a lot more detail about growing and managing your team, provide some more insight on that. So thanks, Tam. Thanks, Amy. We'll see you next time.
Have a lovely day.